The package that changed everything was delivered on a Tuesday. It looked ordinary enough, a plain brown box with clear shipping labels, but what was inside would end months of frustration and teach my package-stealing neighbor a lesson he'd never forget. My name is Daniel, and until 6 months ago, I never thought much about package theft. I lived in a decent apartment building in Chicago, the kind with a lobby where deliveries were supposed to be secure, the key word being supposed to. It started small. A book I ordered never arrived, then a pair of headphones. The delivery confirmation said they were delivered, but they weren't at my door or in the building's package room. I filed reports with the shipping companies, got refunds, and didn't think much of it. Just bad luck, right? Then I ordered a limited edition vinyl record I'd been hunting for years. When the tracking showed it had been delivered but was nowhere to be found, I was devastated. This wasn't something I could just reorder. That's when I decided to pay closer attention. I checked our building's security camera footage, which residents could access through an app. Sure enough, there was a clear video of the mail carrier dropping off my package at 2:14 p.m., and at 2:37 p.m. there was my neighbor Scott from apartment 3B casually picking it up and taking it into his unit. Scott and I weren't friends, but we weren't enemies either. We'd nod in the hallway, maybe exchange brief small talk about the weather. He was in his mid-30s, lived alone, and worked in sales for some tech company. At least, that's what he'd mentioned once in passing. He seemed normal enough, which made this behavior all the more baffling. I knocked on his door that evening, trying to keep an open mind. Maybe it was an honest mistake. "Hey, Scott," I said when he answered. "This is going to sound weird, but did you happen to pick up a package from the lobby earlier today? The cameras show it was delivered, but it's not there now." Scott's face remained perfectly neutral. "No, man, sorry. Haven't been in the lobby since this morning. Maybe someone else grabbed it?" He was lying right to my face. I'd literally seen him on camera. "That's strange," I said, "because the building security footage shows you picking it up around 2:30. His expression flickered for just a moment before he regained his composure. "Oh, that package. I thought it was mine. The labels looked similar. It's still in the packaging. Let me grab it for you." He disappeared into his apartment and returned a minute later with my box, already opened. "Sorry about that, honest mistake. I realized it wasn't mine once I opened it, was just about to bring it over." I took my opened package, the limited edition vinyl record thankfully still inside. "No problem," I said, though we both knew it was a problem. "Just please check the name more carefully next time." "Absolutely," he agreed, all friendly contrition. "Won't happen again." But it did happen again, and again, and again. Over the next few months, at least a dozen of my packages disappeared, only to mysteriously reappear after I confronted Scott, always with the same excuse. "Oh, thought it was mine, labels looked similar, was just about to bring it over." I tried various approaches. I reported him to the building management, but they claimed they couldn't do anything without proof of malicious intent. Apparently, the security footage showing him repeatedly taking packages clearly marked with my name wasn't enough. They suggested I ship items to my workplace instead. I tried leaving polite notes on his door after each incident. I tried being direct and telling him I knew he was taking my packages deliberately. I even tried bribing the mail carriers to ensure my packages were delivered directly to my door or held at the postal facility for pickup. Nothing worked. The thefts continued, and Scott's smug non-apologies became increasingly infuriating. It was as if he enjoyed this weird power game. Then came the final straw. I'd ordered a custom-engraved watch as a gift for my father's 70th birthday, something I'd saved for months to purchase. The delivery confirmation came through while I was at work. I rushed home only to find no package. The security footage showed exactly what I expected, Scott taking it within minutes of delivery. I stormed to his door and pounded until he answered. "Where is it?" I demanded. "Where's what?" He looked genuinely confused. "My package, the one delivered today that you took. I need it now." His face shifted into that now familiar faux realization. "Oh, was that yours? I haven't even opened it yet, hold on." He returned empty-handed. "Actually, I can't seem to find it right now. Must have put it somewhere. I'll bring it by when I locate it. It's my father's birthday gift, I said through gritted teeth. An engraved watch. I need it tonight. I'll look for it, I promise, he said, already closing his door. But I've got plans tonight, so it might have to wait until tomorrow. That night, as I showed up to my father's birthday dinner without his gift, something inside me snapped. This wasn't just about stolen packages anymore. This was about a person who repeatedly violated my boundaries for his own amusement, who faced no consequences for his actions, who had decided that my property was his to take whenever he wanted. I had tried being nice. I had tried involving authorities. Now I was going to try something different. The plan came to me that night. I would send Scott a package he would never forget. Not to hurt him physically, I'm not that kind of person, but to show him exactly how it feels when someone takes something that doesn't belong to them. The next day, I ordered a plain cardboard box about the size of a shoebox and a small security camera with motion detection and Wi-Fi connectivity, the kind that streams video directly to your phone. I also ordered several tubes of a special kind of glitter, the ultra-fine variety that's nearly impossible to clean up completely, and as the final touch, a small electronic device that would make a specific sound when the box was opened. When everything arrived, ironically, without being stolen, I assembled my creation. I placed the camera in the box, positioned to capture the face of whoever opened it. I rigged the glitter with a simple mechanism that would deploy it upward when the lid was removed, and I connected the sound device, programmed with a specific audio clip. The last component was a printed letter placed on top where it would be the first thing seen upon opening. This package was prepared specifically for you, Scott. For months, you've been taking what doesn't belong to you. This time, you've taken something meant just for you. Like my packages, this can't be undone. Unlike my packages, this one will change your life. The footage from the camera inside this box is being streamed live to my phone and backed up to the cloud. I suggest you check your work email immediately. Because here's what Scott didn't know. I had done my research. I found out where he worked. Not difficult, given his LinkedIn profile was public. I found his boss's email address and the company's HR department contact information. And I had prepared an email with video attachments of Scott stealing my packages, ready to send the moment he opened my special delivery. I addressed the box to myself, with my apartment number clearly marked, and deliberately placed it in the lobby during a time I knew Scott would be coming home from work. Then I waited in my apartment, phone in hand, watching the lobby through the building's security app. Right on schedule, Scott entered the building, noticed my package, and after a quick glance around, picked it up and took it to his apartment. I smiled as I switched from the building security app to the feed from my hidden camera. Scott placed the box on his kitchen counter and opened it without hesitation. The moment he lifted the lid, several things happened simultaneously. The glitter erupted in a sparkling cloud, covering his face, clothes, and kitchen. The audio device played at maximum volume, the sound of his own voice saying, "Oh, thought it was mine. Labels looked similar." Was just about to bring it over, and the camera captured his expression of utter shock. As he stood there, stunned and covered in fine glitter, he picked up my letter and read it. I watched as his face transformed from confusion to horror as he realized the implications. That's when my email to his employer went out, containing video evidence of him repeatedly stealing packages, along with a detailed timeline of incidents and my fruitless attempts to resolve the situation through proper channels. Within an hour, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find Scott, still sparkling with glitter despite obvious attempts to clean up, looking both angry and terrified. "What have you done?" he demanded. "Do you know what this could do to my career?" "I do," I replied calmly. Probably something similar to what could happen if I filed a police report for mail theft, which is a federal offense. But I chose this route instead. "My boss called me," he said, his voice shaking slightly. "They're launching an investigation. I could lose my job over this." Actions have consequences, Scott. You've been stealing my mail for months. Did you think that would continue forever without any repercussions? "They were just packages," he protested. "I always gave them back eventually." After opening them, after lying about it, after being confronted with evidence. This wasn't about the items, Scott. This was about respect and boundaries, neither of which you seem to understand. He ran his hands through his hair, dislodging another shower of glitter. What do you want? Money? An apology? What will it take for you to tell them this was all a misunderstanding? I shook my head. I'm not telling them anything. This wasn't a misunderstanding, and we both know it. Whatever happens now is between you and your employer. You've ruined my life over some stupid packages, he shouted, desperation evident in his voice. No, Scott. You ruined your own life by repeatedly choosing to take what wasn't yours, even after being given multiple opportunities to stop. I just made sure there were finally consequences for your actions. I closed the door on his glitter-covered face, feeling not triumph but a strange kind of relief. The ball was in his court now. The next day, Scott didn't return to the building. Or the day after. A week later, I noticed a moving truck outside. He was leaving, apparently having decided that living in the same building as me was no longer viable. I later learned from another neighbor that he had indeed lost his job, not just because of the package theft itself, but because the investigation had uncovered other ethical violations at work. I sometimes wonder if my response was too harsh. After all, he never stole anything of truly significant monetary value, and he did always return the items eventually, but then I remember the months of violations, the smug denials, the complete disregard for my property and privacy. I remember showing up empty-handed to my father's birthday dinner, embarrassed and frustrated. The truth is, Scott's life wasn't ruined by a package of glitter and a hidden camera. It was ruined by his own repeated choices to take what wasn't his, to lie when confronted, and to ignore the reasonable boundaries another person had tried to establish. My package simply ensured that, for once, those choices had consequences. People often ask me if I regret sending that package. I don't. I do, however, regret that it came to that point, that multiple polite conversations, formal complaints, and direct confrontations weren't enough to solve the problem. I regret that Scott couldn't understand the simple concept of respecting other people's property until it cost him something significant. As for me, my packages now arrive without incident. The new tenant in 3B is a retired teacher who smiles warmly when we pass in the hallway. We've never discussed Scott or missing deliveries. There's no need to. Sometimes the most effective teacher is consequence, and sometimes the most important package isn't the one you receive, it's the one you send.